of technology, cyber security, general awareness program, and many more. We have conducted many hundreds of webinars with about 1 million participants in the last 3 years. The technology arm of Goyal Brothers Prakashan, Bright Tutee provides online digital learning content for the K-12 level in a variety of languages for more than 20 educational boards in all of the major subjects.
With this note, I welcome all of you. Today we have this Miss Prem Bala Dutt with us. She's our subject matter expert, having experience of more than 15 years. She's an editor, author, written a lot of many books. So, ma'am, we welcome you, and you can present your screen, and the platform is all yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. And today I am here in front of you to discuss about the IT subject, IT 402, and I'm just presenting my screen. I hope it is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
All right. So the basic things which we'll be discussing today in this session will be about the bifurcation of the syllabus for term 2 specifically, the analysis of a sample paper as per the CBSE pattern, and the complete syllabus which is going to come for your term 2 exam, chapter wise important topics which as a teacher we need to cover up, we need to discuss with the students, we need to highlight that. Then what are the challenges which we have faced, which the students might be facing, and how to overcome that specifically for this subject, and what all strategies we have to follow to make it in such a way so that the students may score maximum mark for this particular subject. So to begin with, the subject code, as you all know, is IT 402. And the curriculum as decided by the CBSE is, I'm just going to cover over there. But yes, the basic key points why this subject has been introduced, what was the purpose of this was there to introduce that in class 10th was to develop the holistic approach specifically in the computer field. So if I talk about IT, it is not only programming, it is not only for database, it is not only for only app building and all, it is overall. So they are giving the overall approach so that a child may excel in any of the specific fields, whichever of his choice is. So they have introduced certain topics like data entry and keyboarding skills, which is a necessity nowadays. And I'm very sure most of the students during this pandemic have developed that skills for the keyboard and all. The concept of digital documentation, the concept of digital presentation, electronic spreadsheet, and database and internet technologies. So as per the CBSE, the term has been divided into term 1 and term 2, and for the syllabus has been divided into 4 parts, that is part A, B, C, and D. In part A, the term 2 syllabus will be for entrepreneurial skills and green skills. The total weightage for this term 2, unit 4 and 5 will be for 5 marks. Whereas in part B, if I talk about term 2 consists of unit 1, which says digital documentation advanced, web application, and the security. Then later on, we are having the hands-on activity on the database, that is MS Access has been introduced. The child needs to understand about what is database, and then what are the key factors, key pointers for database. For example, the degree cardinality, what is the other name of column, rows, and all that will be all we'll be covering it. So the blueprint which is shared, you could see VSA means very small answers, SA is small answers, LA is the large answer. So if I talk about entrepreneurial skills, you could see very small answer from this particular part, or you could say this particular topic will be of 2 more. And short answer will be for 1 mark. So total 2 plus 1. Number of questions you could see here would be 3. In green scales, again, you could see the number of questions could be 3. Now, if I say here, in very small answers, there's an option, total 4 questions are there, but the child has to appear for only and only 3. They will be all for 1 mark. So the total weightage for any of these 3 amongst the 4, any 3 they have to appear for, and the total weightage, or you could say total marks, will be of 3. Again, here for small answers, you could see entrepreneurial skills. You could see a short answer for this chapter. 1 will be short answer for green skills, or again. And amongst these 2, the child has to appear only and only 1. So this is the blueprint. For part B, for database management system, you could see very small answers 3 and web applications 3, total 6 questions, but amongst them they have to appear for 4. So this very small answers, they are basically for 1 mark, and for amongst these 6 questions, they have to appear only and only 4. So total weightage is 4. Then if I talk about small short answers, from database, it is 3 questions, from web applications 3, total 6, and they have to appear any 4. That means 2 questions they can opt for, they can leave, they have a choice. And yes, the last question, which is generally competency based, which is of 4 mark. So from database, 1 question will come, from web application, 2 questions will come. There'll be total 3 questions, and they have an option to leave 1. Amongst 3, they have to appear only and only 2. So this is actually a very, very scoring part, which the child generally skips because they are in fear of that what they'll be writing related to database, how to do that competency based question. Broadly, if I describe, there are 3 sections in a question paper, section A, B, and C. In section A, it is totally of 5 marks. There will be in total 6 questions, and this complete, you could say the complete section A will be from employability skills. That is part A, if I talk about. Then section B, total weightage of section B is 12 mark. The total number of questions are 12, and it is from a subject specific. Then section C again is of 8 marks. In total, 3 questions are there. And yes, it is also subject specific based question, but it is slightly tricky, in which they judge that how the student has understand and whether the student has developed that competency to answer related to the question which is being put up. You could say it is related to the skill building. Such questions are there. So the total mark for term 2 is of 50, in which 25 marks are for theory and 25 marks are for practical. The total time allowed or allocated for this subject to appear is 1 hour. So part A is of 5 mark, part B is of 20 mark. Generally, what the students do when they open the book, they start preparing from part A, because they say, okay, we'll start from chapter 1, 2 and move on. So the point I must let you know is that always suggest them to start their preparation from part B, because it is the weightage of part B is more, that is of 20 marks, whereas the weightage of part A is of only 5 marks. They waste their most of the time by reading, by studying the employability skills, which actually is of 5 mark only. So they should do the preparation from the last chapters of the subject specific skills, because in practicals also the topic will be from subject specific. In competency based also the questions will be from there, whereas the weightage maximum of subject specific is that of 20. So you should always suggest them to prepare part B first. Now, this is what I was telling you through a blueprint. Section A, in total, there are 6 questions. First 4 questions, they are of 1 mark only. Amongst these 4 questions, the child has to appear only 3. 5 and 6, the questions, they are of 2 mark. This is in section A only, but yes, the student has to appear only and only one. So it makes section A has 5 questions to the 3 and then 1, 4 questions they have to appear. Amongst these 4, they have to appear only one, only 3. Amongst these 2, they have to appear only and only 1. Then in section B, you could see it is broadly divided into 2 parts. If I say first 7 to 12 question, they all are of 1 mark. And from these 6 questions, that means question number 7 to question number 12, they are total 6 questions. Amongst these questions, they have to appear only and only for any 4 questions. So they are having the option, the choice is given. So prepare your student to appear like that only. I have seen in many of the answer copies, in many of the cases during the pre-board exams and the pattern also, what the students are doing, they do not read it, they just appear all of them because they are only for 1 mark. In a flow, they just write. So when the child has been assigned, when they have been given the question paper for reading, they should utilize that time. They should see it, that what all questions are there. They wherever the choices are there, they should decide. They should develop their mind, make up the strategy that which all questions they can appear and in which they are sure shot to appear, which will not deduct any mark. So they should see that amongst these 6 questions, only 4 has to be appeared. Then from question number 13 to 18, again, it consists of 6 questions. They all are of 2 marks, but the student has to appear only for 4. Amongst these 6 questions, they have to appear only for 4 and each consists of 2 marks. Now the last section, which is a competency based, there are basically 3 parts, question number 19, 20 and 21, and the total weightage of section C is of 8 marks. They have to appear only 2, so 1 choice is there. So they should, because in generally web application based question, they get confused and at times they just write incorrect answer. So database is very simple concept. If they are very much trained enough for database, 1 question they should appear from this database one and 1 they can appear for the web application. Now this is actually a layout of the question, sample question paper. You could see here that the pattern which I have discussed with you, it is exactly the same one. Section A and the options, section B, the options, section C, the options. Now, if I talk about the important concept from each part, so part A and the very first topic is entrepreneurial skills. So it is what is entrepreneur and who is actually and what is entrepreneurship and what is their role towards the society. So in just explain them in a general way. Instead of cramming, give the realistic examples. They should be give them the example of Shark Tank also. So the more they see the real life experiences, real life examples, the more they understand. Instead of cramming, they should understand by the real life examples. So there are some basic entrepreneurship activities, for example, toward the social, agricultural and women entrepreneurship. So just explain them. They should write that in their own words. Then what are the qualities they should possess? They like hard work, optimism, independence. I'm sure you are very trained enough to explain these points and the students also have understood these points. So make them write these qualities in a point way. Always they should not write such qualities in a paragraph way, because the more they write in a pointers by specifying them each point, the more readability is there and examiners immediately they just give a full mark for the same. Instead of writing a paragraph, they should be trained to write in a points. Then what is the role of entrepreneur? So it should be told as an innovator, as an agent, as a coordinating role, as an employment generation role. So these points are very important and most generally these type, this question is put up in the exam from part A. Then the next chapter is from the green skill. Green skills is towards the social science, or you could say it is toward the society, in which they are focusing about the SDG. SDG is Sustainable Development Goals. In total, there are 17 SDGs on which every sector is working in one way or the other. So make them aware towards the environment, make them aware about the SDG goals. And every organization nowadays, they are putting little efforts on these sustainable development goals. So orient them about the same. Then the chapter is focusing on two parts, society and environment, and what is our role in the sustainability of these goals. So what are the problems which are faced, like toward three major problems related to SDGs, like food, water, and fuel, towards which these goals have been framed out. Discuss these with the students. Then what is the sustainable process? To sum up, I must say that these SDGs are focusing on quality education, clean water and sanitization, decent work and economic growth, reduce inequality. These are some of the pointers which they should always remember on their tips, that whenever the topic related to SDG come, so they can use these points to write such to write their answers. Now, the next and very important, I must say, this is the most important topic, most important area where the students can score maximum mark is your database management system. So the students are oriented about what is database management system, what is database, because from class 10th onwards, they are oriented for DBMS. Once they understand this, that then in class 11th and 12th, if they took up the IP or computer science as a subject, as their fifth subject, so they'll understand it is going to help them in in long range, it is going to help them. Also, after class 10, after class 12, when they move and in their any of the course which they opt for, specifically if it is related to computer science, they will have a separate subject for database management system. So career opportunities for DBMS, for the students who are moving into DBMS, is database administrator. In banking sector, they can go. In accountancy, they can go. Everywhere, I must say, DBMS is one such stream. Database database administrator is one such person who will be there in every organization. It's not related to education, it's not related to any commercial, it's not related to any other public domain, but yes, database is being utilized in every domain. So if you are giving them the real life example like a school, and you tell them that yes, in our school we create a database for every class, or you could say for every section, and how the data is being structured, how the data is being stored in an orderly way, to fetch the record, to make changes. And if you orient them by giving the real life examples, they will understand, and obviously they'll score good. 4 marks complete, and without you could say making much of the mistake, they can easily understand, and sure short answers, they sure short marks they will get from this particular part. So database, then what, various softwares with which the database can be created. Then there are two terms in which the students always get confused. One is called as front end, and second is called as back end. So tell them what is the major difference. The difference is wherever they do the coding, the face, or you could say the application which they can see, with which they interact, any of the Google Play Store application which they use, is actually the front end. Whatever they are looking at to interact with the device, to give some information, is the front end. To create a front end, there are so many languages like C, C++, Python, R, there are so many. But whatever information you are writing into it is going at the back and is saved somewhere. So that somewhere is actually the database where the information is getting stored. And when you want to fetch it, when you want to see that, will be retrieved from the backend. So when you see any application, it is not working only by looking at the front end, but actually it is a sync up between the front end and back end. So when the correct information is stored at a back end, then you will get the correct response. For example, your railway reservation website, or your air ticketing, or any other where you are booking something. So you see the application, you see that you have to enter your name, details, and all. You fill it. So that is a front end which you see. And when that information is getting saved somewhere, to see that whether your ticket has been booked, what all bookings you have done, what is the payment, when is you are going to board, and all, everything is saved at the back end, which can be retrieved later when you want to see that. So that is the back end. So in this subject specific skills related to database, there are four important terms. One is the item, which is the data which is being stored in the database. Then the field, the columns in which the data is being stored. Vertical columns like roll number, name, marks, hobby, they will be called as your field. Field is also called as the attribute, that is the property or the quality. If I talk about, I have created one table for student. So the field will be roll number, name, marks, contact address, hobby, houses. For example, in a school, if they are having the house, or the clubs. So they will be all called as the fields. When I say records, that means the row wise, horizontal roll. That example I'll just take in the next slide. And then the value, that would be actual textual or a numerical data stored into it. Now, this is one structure in which the fields which I was telling you, employee code, employee name, employee address, employee designation, employee contact number, employee salary, these all are the fields. These all are the fields. And the item for this particular table is employee. Item is also called as entity. It is also called as, the table name is also called as entity. Here it is employee, as you could see. The field is this, and the record is one complete row holding the data of a employee. For example, E001 ABC. Here in a horizontal row, you could see this is a complete row, and this is called as one record of the employee. Next is the data types, that what all type of information are being stored under each column. If I say name, so it will be obviously the string value. If I say roll number, it will be a value which is not holding any decimal value. If I say date of birth, it would be a date. If I say time, so it would be date time. So there are certain categories, and amongst which these data could be fixed in, could be saved. For example, numeric types, alphanumeric types, binary, date and time, and other variable type. So they should know, students should be well oriented about what are different data types. Data type means the type of value which they can store. If I say, if for example, I say Delhi. So Delhi is actually a string value, a value which could not have any integer value. So what type of data it would be? It would be other variable type, right? If I say 99, so it could be a numeric type. Marks, if I say, it could be in a decimal, that you could include in a numeric type. And if I say yeah, wherever you have to store as the answer as yes or no, so binary type data could be utilized. It could be yes or no, or 0 or 1. Now, when we discuss about the database, there are two very important keys or columns which are called as primary key and foreign key. If you see the example here, in this table, service ID and service name, these are two columns which are being created. Amongst them, if I say service ID is one such column which holds the unique value. That means a value which cannot be assigned to somebody else. So it is 2, 3, 4 or anyone. Whereas service name could be same. For example, it is accounting, it is security, it is maintenance. The name, service name could be same, but ID will not be. So you will have to train the students to let them know that what is service ID. That means the column which holds unique value, which cannot be repeated amongst any of the rows. So in a table, any such column Column means vertical, which holds a value which are unique, which are not common, are called as primary key. There could be many columns in which the data can be unique, but it is up to the administrator to decide that which column can be called as a primary key. Okay, so once in a table, there could be only and only one primary key. Now there's another table which is created here, and you could see service ID was created as a primary key in the first table, whereas in the second table also this service ID is being utilized. So if a primary key of one table is used in a second table, so the same column which is used in a second table will be called as a foreign key for the second table. So it is primary and foreign key. They should be trained. They should be knowing about what is primary key and what is a foreign key. Then when we understand about database management system, they are also oriented about one language which is called as SQL. We generally say it as SQL, and the full form is structured query language. All the students, they should be oriented about different categories of these commands which are utilized in SQL language, which are DDL and DML. DDL means data definition language, whereas DML says it is a manipulation language. The difference between these DDL and DML is DDL, as the name says, data definition language. When the table structure, when the database structure, when the outer boundary of a table is being created, like deciding the column name, the data type, the primary key and all, they will be all included in DDL commands. So the DDL commands will be create, alter, drop for deleting a table. Whereas the name says data manipulation means if the data has been already saved in a database, now I want to change that data. Roll number 2, I have to modify it as roll number 12. So when the value inside the table is being changed or modified, so we use DML commands, and there are some commands like select, insert, delete, and update. So they should be oriented about the DDL and DML commands both. The last unit for this subject specific skill is web application and security. It's a vast topic, but yes, common and important points should be, they should know about the accessibility options, networking fundamentals, what are instant messaging tools, and what is the meaning of instant messaging. For example, WhatsApp is the recent one. Children are very much used to of it. WhatsApp, Telegram, then chatting with a contact using a Google Talk. What is blogging? Nowadays, blogging, vlogging, it's very common. So they should know about what is blog, how to create a blog, how to be a blogger. Then using offline blog editor, some tools have been introduced in the book. They can go and they can write their own blogs. Online transactions, where now in this pandemic situation, everybody has learned about how to do the online transaction, even the students, by booking some orders online for their eateries or for some of their products from various social sites, online sites. So what is online transaction, how it is being done, what is internet security? It is a part of cyber security, how to be a secure, what are the precautionary measures to be taken, whether to share your details on the net or not. Though we are globally connected with each other, we feel that we are secured by putting the privacy options. But honestly telling you, if you are putting your information, even if in a secured way, on social media, on social networking site, you are not secured. So you have to restrict what all information you're putting on a social media. It, yes, within a closed domain, it's okay, but you never know that when and how the information could be morphed, the information could be utilized for illegal purposes. So orient the students at this very age so that in future they're more because at this tender age, generally they may commit such mistake because they share their information and at last they end up to a problem. So aware them about the internet security, maintain workplace safety, prevent accidents and emergencies, health and safety at work. Now, related to accessibility option, they should be aware about the serial keys, the net. I hope my voice is audible to each one of you.
It's getting disturbed a little just now. Otherwise, it was clear previously.
All right. Okay. Then networking fundamentals like client server architecture, then internet terminologies, the data transfer, how it is the data has been passed from one end to another using a peer-to-peer network, or why the networking is being introduced, various important tools with which the data gets transferred. So these were some of the things. Then instant messaging, as I told you about WhatsApp, Google Talk, Telegram, these are some of the common things. Then what is the difference between a chatting and an emailing? A common example, or you could say common point, is in chatting you get the instant reward, whereas if I talk about the email, the user has to be there online, and if the mail has been received, then only he is going to revert back. Whereas in chatting, if I say, the person generally chatting only occurs when the person is available online, and request response simultaneously if it is done, then it is called as chatting. Then creating and publishing the web pages, doing the blogging. There is a blogger site also which is free of cost. There are so many web sources available for writing the blogs. Orient the students, train them to write more and more on the blog. They should see also various blogs written by any of the subject specific topic, any of their area in which they are having the interest on. They can search, they can write, they can view, they can comment. They should create their own blogs also. They can share with their friends and peers, and it may definitely going to help and make them more motivated towards a subject. So now my focus will be on the competency based questions. As I told you that in this part we discuss about the database and web application. So you will see here one question is definitely from your SQL. For example, here consider the following SQL command. I am discussing question number 21 for a moment. They are saying consider the following SQL command like this. It is a create table command. Various columns with the constraint like not null have been created. Columns with the data types have been given to you, and then later on they may ask like what will be the command, what will be the query to insert a record, what will be the query to view the primary key, what will be the query to fetch a specific record related to this particular table. So such questions may appear. So there is MySQL, which is a client-based application. It is free of cost. They can download from internet, or you could say SQLite is available, open source software it is. Through this, they can practice their SQL commands. Then related to your, there will be two questions on the basis of web applications. And yeah, one question definitely they should appear amongst, they have to rather, because they among these three questions they have to appear only two. So one question will be from the web application for sure. Another question related to the database, you could see a table structure has been given, and then they may ask you write the SQL statement to write the detail, like select all science students from the table student. Then table name will be there, columns will be there, attributes, that means the columns are there, records are there, and they may ask you for these simple queries to write. So 4 queries will be there for 4 marker. In one line only they can write every single query, and it will be very scoring for them. So my tips for you to which can be shared with the students is they should start revision early, they should organize the time, ask them to start from database only, because it once they get the interest, they will definitely work for other topics also. Look after, I mean, they have to look for themselves for study. Then regular breaks are required. They should do the writing practice, then solve maximum of the sample papers they should do. The more they practice, the more they get oriented, the more they will be in habit of writing. Because now what we have experienced because of this online situation, they are not very much trained to write the correct answer. They know the answer, but they're not trained. They hesitate to write, or they're not in their, I mean, mode of writing. So the more they solve the sample papers, the more tuned they are into writing the examination. So ask them to do so. So exam is a skill, but yes, you have to learn it and enjoy it. So, but any query, anything, it is there. The sample paper released by the Goel publication should be seen. The maximum sample papers are there. Look after them. The questions quality are very nice. You can definitely have a look of them. And that will be all from my side. I am open for any questions. If it is, you may kindly.
Can you see any questions in the chat box?
Yeah, I'll just see, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, not as if for now.
All right then, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you
Well,
all the participants. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. It was very enlightening to know about all the things. Thank you, everyone. You all can leave now.